Anyways, nice to see you.
Sounds great.
Yes, I agree. Okay, all in favor, please say aye for approving the addition of purple martin gourds and a stand at Tiedemann Pond Conservancy.
Bye.
Aye.
Just for
Okay.
record keeping, Lorman motioned and then the second was Mary.
Mary.
All right, and Jim, you can hear us okay?
Yes.
And are you
want
seeing
me
my
okay?
screen?
I'm not seeing your screen. And now I am.
Got it.
All right.
Okay, next item is acceptance of donation from Friends of Kettle Ponds. And this is who donate the money to $250 to purchase the additional purple martin collar.
Yeah, so background in this one is the Purple Martin Stewards have arranged for a donation of $250 from the Friends of Kettle Pond, as well as $220 from an anonymous donor, agenda item number 2 and number 3. And that would cover the cost of the above Purple Martin gourd purchase.
Okay, do we have a motion for item number 2? We'll do them separately.
Lorman will make that motion.
A second.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
It's great. It's wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, and let me check. We just had somebody enter, and I don't know if that's Pixel 9 Pro XL. Is that Tom Bernthal?
No. Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's opposed, so that motion 2 passed.
Is that Tom?
Let's find that out here.
Okay.
It is.
Pixel 9 Pro XL. Is that Tom Bernthal?
Yes, it is.
Excellent. Can you turn on your camera?
I don't see a button for that. Record. That's
No, not record.
yep.
Okay.
He'll figure it out.
Yeah, and help us out for quorum.
He just has to have his camera on the boat.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, thank you.
The bottom left, Tom.
Bottom
There
left,
you go.
I've got
Thanks, Jim.
like a pencil there. Oh, yeah. Okay. I don't see a camera icon though. Shoot.
All right, we have a quorum either way.
Yeah,
We do.
we've got the quorum. So we have a motion for
Oh,
accepting
here we go.
the anonymous donor.
Now you can see me,
Second.
right?
Yes. Okay.
Yes, thank you, Tom. That's perfect.
So all in favor of accepting the donation from the anonymous donor, please say aye.
Aye.
I
Opposed? Did Jim speak? Jim's turned off.
No, he's muted. That's okay.
Jim, did you vote?
I did. I said aye.
Okay. Motion carried unanimously. Okay, we are going to move item 4 and 5 and 6 to the end of the agenda, so we can discuss item 7.
And if you want to take a motion for that, that might be procedurally what
Yeah, we probably should.
So ask for
So we need a motion to move item 7 up on the agenda. Items 4, 5, and 6.
Lorman will make that motion.
Need a second.
second.
Okay. Then all in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? It's unanimous. So we are moving up. Item 7, request by T-Wall Enterprises for use of Pheasant Branch Creek Corridor Conservancy land for construction activities. And Mary, could you move over to that seat and we'll let people come sit at the table? Make them pass. And would you like to start explaining?
Yeah, so T-Wall Enterprises is requesting the use of the Pheasant Branch Creek Conservancy for construction activities related to the development of Phase 2 of Conservancy Bend Apartments. And I would like to give you some background information on that. So T-Wall Enterprises submitted to the city for review a specific implementation plan, or SIP, dated October 22nd of 2024. The Conservancy Bend apartment development is located south of the Pheasant Branch Creek corridor. It's between Parmenter Street and the high school campus. So it's pictured there in yellow. It shares a parcel line with the Pheasant Branch Creek Conservancy. The proposed development is the building shown there in yellow, and the black dashed line to the north of the proposed building is the parcel line or the property boundary. This is the minutes of the November 26, 2024 Plan Commission meeting. So at that meeting, the Plan Commission approved the SIP, the specific implementation plan for the Phase 2 of Conservancy Bend Apartments, contingent upon 7 points. And those are on page 2 of the minutes. And I'm going to read number 4, which is resolution of all engineering staff recommendations embedded in the plan submitted on 10/25 of 2024. So staff recommendations embedded in the plan included the following. Staff requested that the developer show the location of the construction limit line and the construction fence on the north side of the parcel. Both of those are shown in the legend of sheet C101, which is the demolition plan. But neither of them are shown on the plan on the north side of the parcel. Additionally, staff recommendations embedded in that plan included the following. Staff requested addition of a tree protection zone fencing for the Pheasant Branch Creek Corridor Conservancy Oak and provided a specification for that fencing. The staff note references our forestry ordinance, chapter 20.06, paragraph 2, protection during excavations. Additionally, on 4 occasions in that plan, construction activities, we requested that construction activities do not encroach on conservancy lands with the comment, please do not encroach on city-owned conservancy lands. That is on C102, which is the site plan. And it's on C200, which is the grading and erosion control plan. And it's on C201, which is the detailed grading plan. And it's on the landscape plan, L100. And on that same sheet, staff requested that the zoning of the abutting parcel be noted. Our conservancy land, Creek Corridor parcel is zoned as conservancy. And that's a requirement of a landscape plan as per 10.08.20, paragraph 3 of municipal code. It's a requirement of the plan submission. So in the response to those comments in the staff recommendations, the developer did not change the distance of the north side wall from the parcel line or the location of the building. The developer did not approach this committee and discuss use of the Conservancy land for that construction. But the developer did submit a revised plan set. And on January 28th, 2025, T-Wall Enterprises submitted a plan review submittal set. On sheet G001, which is the index sheet, it's the second page in the document. It lists the general contractor, the architect, the civil engineer, and the structural engineer as part of the project team. So that plan set did address the contingencies of the Plan Commission motion. The request to not encroach on city-owned conservancy lands and the request for fencing were addressed on two sheets with the statement, at minimum, install construction fence along the north property line, along the conservancy lands. No construction activities are allowed within the conservancy lands. And that is on page C101, which is the demolition plan. And it's on sheet C200, which is the grading and erosion control plan. The landscape plan, sheet L100, includes a reference to our forestry chapter 20.06, the one I mentioned earlier. And that reads, all trees on terrace/median or other public-owned property near any excavation or construction of any building structure or street work shall be sufficiently guarded and protected by those responsible for such work as to prevent any injury to said trees. Oh, Edgar, that needs to stay open. Yeah, sorry. It continues, during construction operations, each contractor or builder shall erect suitable protective barriers around public trees and shrubs which could be injured during construction, and shall obtain the city forester's approval of the adequacy of such barriers before construction is commenced. So based on the review of that plan submittal set, city staff determined that the contingencies of the Plan Commission motion from November of 2024 were adequately satisfied, and a building permit was issued on August 1st, 2025. I don't have a photo of that. It's a blank page, sorry. But let's talk about the tree. So during the winter of 2024-25, our Conservancy Lands forestry staff crew made reduction cuts on the south side branches of the oak tree to provide clearance for future building of any construction activities involved with that construction that would incur on the Conservancy Bend side of the parcel line. So this shot shows the before photo from November of 2024. And then we've got a Google Street View of May 2025 that shows where we made those reduction cuts. And the thing I like about this photo is it shows the edge of the sidewalk, which is roughly the parcel line. During the spring of 2025, the Conservancy Lands crew conducted a prescribed burn of the Parmenter Bowl, which includes this area, and followed the burn up by overseeding with a diverse mix of native forbs and grasses. During the growing season of 2025, Conservancy Land staff, our Oak Hill Correctional crew, and city contractors removed invasive species from the creek corridor, including this area, in accordance with the October 2024 Pheasant Branch Creek Corridor Restoration Plan that was approved by this committee. So during the late fall, early winter of 2025, the developer started activities related to construction. This first photo is from January 6 and shows the tracks left by an excavator that passed across. This next January 6 photo shows the imprint of a bucket from the excavator that was parked on Conservancy lands. More pictures of the tracks and soil disturbances. This photo shows some erosion control materials that were left on Conservancy lands. And then this photo, still from January 6th, this shows the lot corner stake. So that's looking west down the parcel line toward Parmenter Street.
Is the tree in question on the right there? Is that the trunk that we're seeing?
Yeah, the 21-inch diameter red oak is right here.
Okay.
You see my cursor, is that correct? All right. And then this photo shows the view down the orange flags of the communication line, which from the plan set, where this communication line crosses the parcel line, it's about 6 feet north of the property line. And at the oak tree, it's about 4 feet north of the property line. So that gives you a good scale looking down those that line of communication line flags.
Hey, Kevin, isn't that tree supposed to have a fence around it?
Could you speak louder so we can hear?
Just wondering if that tree is supposed to have a fence around it.
The plan review set doesn't specify a tree protection fence around the tree. It specifies a fence along the property line.
Okay.
So yes, they're supposed to have that.
And then, okay, so this final photo, this is from January 6th, so just a few days ago, shows the base of that oak tree, and it shows erosion control sock that's a foot or two north of that communication lines that we saw in the last photo. So that puts that erosion control sock 6 to 8 feet out from the property line. And that takes us to a point. So in a letter dated January 22nd, 2026, T-Wall Enterprises / Conservancy Bend 2 Residences LLC is requesting a temporary construction easement. So according to that request, the general contractor, who if you remember from the plan review submittal set, was a member of the project team since at least January of 2025. They are now recommending a temporary easement 15 feet from the property line to, quote, protect construction team members, pedestrians, and the Conservancy. So I can't comment on the safety of the construction team members, but I can verify that there's no pedestrian infrastructure along the north property line. The closest pedestrian infrastructure is one, the sidewalk along the west side of Clark Street that ends at the property line, and two, the asphalt path on the east side of Parmenter that leads down to the creek corridor path. And as far as protecting the Conservancy, I would argue that the best way to protect the Conservancy would be to install the originally requested fence along the property line and restrict any activities within the Conservancy. The request comes with an offer to donate and plant 10 new trees of species of the city's choosing in size ranging from 1.5 to 3 inches in caliber in the area following completion of construction. So the issue here is that at this time, this committee does not have a value of that 21-inch diameter red oak. Had this committee been approached, say in late 2024, one option that we would have had would have been to request that the developer hire or we hire a registered consulting arborist that would be able to provide a valuation of that tree based on industry standards and give us a figure that we could request as compensation. The request comes with an offer to fully restore the affected Conservancy to its prior condition. And I think this is much like the tree. The committee doesn't have measurements of, I'll say, quote, prior condition. Had this committee been approached earlier, we would have, say, the entirety of the 2025 growing season to conduct vegetation surveys, assess things like soil compaction before any construction activities, to essentially establish what we feel like the prior condition is. And then the committee could work with a restoration ecologist to formulate a plan for restoration of the damaged area and request compensation for that plan.
And I have one question. I think sometime in meeting with you, you had mentioned that adaptive restoration has at least provided planted seeds and so on in that area.
The Conservancy lands crew, our in-house staff, planted our shade mix that we procure from other conservancy spaces. So we collect that seed during the growing season.
It's shade mix of native wildflowers.
Forbs and grasses.
Forbs
Yeah.
and grasses.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's a fairly diverse mix. It ranges from 10 to 25 species of forbs, and something like 5 species of grasses. So that's something that we put down after the prescribed fire in the spring of this year.
Okay. So we had started doing some restoration.
All right. And then to continue here, the request comes with an offer to reconstruct the Clark Street stairs. And if you've been on those stairs, they are in disrepair. We try to close them down. Our barricades get moved. They need repair. But we have an Eagle Scout candidate from Scout Troop 140 who is committed to reconstructing those stairs in 2026, and all the materials for the construction have already been procured. So that's and just to give you an idea, this is Scout Troop 140, and this is a picture from Graver Pond Conservancy. On this day, they planted 10 trees in the Graver Pond savanna during a workday. Then they did the same thing the next week in the creek corridor, planted 10 trees. So this document is the temporary limited easement agreement provided by T-Wall Enterprises. So this is a legal document between the city and the developer. And this is the document that you tonight are being asked to make a recommendation to Common Council on.
Okay.
That is, don't need that.
Okay. So we can get all the information.
And I've got more here, Susan.
Oh, you're not.
If you allow me.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is page 1 of the document. I think it's important to note in paragraph C that the easement is defined by Exhibit A, which is attached to this document. And then the construction activities that are related are discussed in paragraph 1. It's construction fence staging, it's job trailer staging off the road, it's concrete foundation operations, backfill operations, access for rough framing, installing weather barrier, installing windows and patio doors, installing exterior veneer, caulking, installing unit balconies, site work and landscaping, staging of scaffolding and light equipment, man lift operations, restoration of disturbed areas, and ingress, egress to and over the easement property to perform the foregoing activities. So page 2, there's a definition of restoration. Prior to termination of this agreement, developer shall restore all portions of the easement property that have been disturbed/damaged by the easement activities to the condition existing prior to activities or as close thereto as is reasonably practical, including the seeding of the disturbed areas, including the seeding of the disturbed portions with a seed mix specified by the city. Additionally, developer agrees to donate and plant 10 new trees on the easement property following completion of construction of the development. And then page 3, and I'm just going to point out that Gurdeep Bar is not our mayor.
The old form, you can tell.
Yeah. And then this is page 4. So this is the Exhibit A. This is the easement property. This is the exhibit that this is a clean copy, meaning those are the notes provided to me. So this is the exhibit that defines the easement. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go to the next page here. These are my notes in yellow. So I just labeled the Pheasant Branch Creek Corridor Conservancy, and I labeled the location of the 21-inch diameter red oak. And then this is more of my notes here. And so remember, this is Exhibit A. This defines the easement. And in the temporary construction easement letter request, a 15-foot easement is requested. The text of Exhibit A reads maximum 15 feet. However, their graphic shows a far greater area. So the exhibit shows a 61-foot boundary from the north along Clark Street here, and shows a 26-inch boundary throughout the rest of the area. And then to the west,
And
this
this line is the property line.
the red line is the parcel boundary, the property line. Yes. So to the west is areas that's outside of conservancy land. So I would say outside of what this committee might be willing to make a call on. So I would say, yeah, this is City of Middleton right away, and these lands both have stormwater infrastructure. So I would make the argument that Public Works Committee and or Stormwater Management Commission should weigh in on any permission given for those areas. That's where we come to. So we have a recommended motion to number one, recommend any recommend to Public Works Committee and Water Resources Management Commission review of the temporary limited easement agreement for a recommendation to Common Council on any of the affected areas of proposed easement that are on city right of way with the stormwater infrastructure. And a staff recommendation to recommend to Common Council denial of the temporary limited easement agreement between the City of Middleton and Conservancy lands. Conservancy Bend residences. I think something for you to think about is what you feel like the Common Council will do with this information. And my staff recommendation is to ask for denial of the agreement. I also think it's a good idea to provide your contingencies should they choose to consider approval of that. And I have a list of what I think those contingencies should be.
Yeah, from our department.
Okay, this is a very complicated issue. It's been, I will go back a little bit on history in terms of, I don't remember how many years ago it was when the first two buildings were built. But it was when I was on council, I remember approving it a long time ago,
Oh, yeah.
which is more than 4 years ago. So I would say the development is not complete yet, as was originally designed. And this is actually, I think, a change from what was originally proposed, because this area was, I think, also supposed to be independent homes or a building with homes, condos for sale. So it's being changed from that original use, as I can determine. But I think first, because Kevin covered so much information, if you guys have questions about it, so that we don't get too jumbled up here, since it's a complicated thing, I'll let you ask questions first, and then we'll have T-Wall's people explain their part.
Susan, just a point of order. You're going to take public comment, just make that known so that if there is anyone else in the room that wants to comment, they are allowed to do so.
Yeah, that is true. If somebody else wants to comment, you would be allowed to. But does the committee have any questions of Kevin?
Yeah, Susan, I do. So I guess two things. Number one, is this common for the committee to grant an easement, to use conservancy land as construction site? I mean, I've been on this committee for just a couple of years, and I've never seen a request like this. So that's my first question. And the second one is, it looked like that the building came to within 3 or 4 feet of the property line on one side. And I guess my question is, how were they expecting to build? It seems like that's too big for the parcel if you're not going to go on conservancy land to begin with.
I can,
Let me answer the first question, because Jim, your first question was, has another developer used conservancy lands in the past?
Or
And
close, yeah, is this a common practice?
yeah, and I can give you one example. Stagecoach Trails apartment building, which is on Century Avenue and next to the area the city's been planning to develop sometime in the future into a trailhead with a picnic shelter and so on. That was used by Jacob Klein when they were building that area. And Jacob then put in trees, just like T-Ball's suggesting, and I think planted it and so on.
How many years ago was that?
I don't quite
That'd be
of that
20 years ago,
city
right?
purchase.
Or not
parcel.
new
Well,
apartments.
that apartment, it's 10 years ago.
It's, yeah, about 10 years or something. Yes, and the city did purchase that parcel because the whole thing was multiple houses along there with some native area next to the creek. They tore down a couple of duplexes and small apartments and so on. You probably remember it, Jim. It was an eyesore.
What did we do over the other apartment across the street?
And they had
To use the conservancy land
Beaver,
for construction?
Beaverbrook.
Yeah, Beaverbrook.
They were going into the creek almost. I think it wasn't as big a problem because they've got parking lot between the building and the creek. So they weren't having to dig down into the ground, I would say. So that made that construction a little easier.
But Middleton Shores, I don't think they're there.
I think Middleton Shores right now, it's currently,
Yep.
they're at the front.
Yeah, so there's no issues there.
So that is okay.
The history is right. If we ever
I
granted
don't-
easements during construction,
Yeah,
I've only been here 2 years and
yeah, so that's why I'm bringing
The
some of
second
this history.
question was.
I think to
how
have, like,
Yeah.
close
I
the
think to
building
answer,
was, yeah, to the property line and.
Jim,
was
you've
the
got to
plan
speak
for-
louder. We're having a real hard time hearing you.
so Jim, your second question had to do with how close the building is to the property line, and how the developer intended to put the building up without the use of it. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
Well, let
Only the
them
first
answer.
part I can answer, and that's the building, the northwest corner is about 8 feet from the property line, and that's when I checked with our planning staff, the zoning for this parcel allows us a setback of 8 feet, so 8 feet is the buffer there. But I can't answer the second part.
I have a question.
Okay,
In these other cases where an easement was granted, were those all negotiated in advance of construction?
I can't answer that question, mainly because it was so long ago it was when I was on council, so I'm not sure. I remember when they were built and I was on conservancy lands in council at the time. So I think they probably were negotiated beforehand.
Then I had another question for Kevin on the character of the Conservancy land. To give me a fuller picture, is how far away is the creek, and what is the slope and vegetation? You know, if you took a cross section from the property line and went down to the creek, what would it look like?
Yeah, so I think the vegetation of this section is pretty typical of our creek corridor in general. There's mature cottonwoods in there before our prescribed fire, and I'll be honest, this is a difficult parcel to put fire on, just the nature of where it's located, and it's a sort of a bowl, so we get swirling winds. We had the opportunity to do it for the first time in a while this spring. And there's quite a bit of brush that's coming in. So your walnut, buckthorn, honeysuckle, the stuff you would expect to see. But with the restoration efforts that we're seeing, being able to introduce fire in here, get seed down, I think we have good expectations. As far as the distance to the creek corridor, this slopes downhill, and is it fair to say 300 feet?
But on a steep slope, or
It's relatively steep. To traverse down to the creek at the end of the Clark Street bulb, there's a set of stairs with two landings and three sections of stairs that probably have 5 to 10 steps each.
Kevin, how many feet is it from the end of the Clark Street pavement to where the land starts sloping?
It starts sloping as soon as you're talking about the Clark Street bulb there.
Yes, at
It
the end
starts,
of it.
it starts sloping right from the bulb. So I'll say 100 feet or 100 feet from the property line. It starts sloping down at the bulb. The slope starts much closer to the property line. In the rest of it.
Comment about the terrain?
Yes, you may make a comment.
Oh, thank you. There's an ephemeral pond between that and the
Yes.
creek corridor at the bottom of that
Yes,
slope.
there is a pond there,
Yes, there's.
but we're not, that's also outside the area we're talking about.
Well,
It's right downhill from the
I just
area we're
want to
talking
point
about.
out that it's biologically very interesting and.
Yes, that is true. Okay, I want to make a comment again about Jacob Klein's the Stagecoach Trails things. Originally, that was, as I said, multiple houses there on Century Avenue, and he purchased that land. And I think actually donated the lots that are vacant now, the city property, to the city that he didn't build on.
You want me to answer it?
Yes, you can.
So there was TIP involved, and part of that was the city purchased land swap
Yeah,
for the parking lot
was.
and the trailhead.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I recognize that, and again, it's important to point out the city actually owned this before we did.
Yes.
So
that's
and you remember that. So there's
Yeah.
a whole RFP. The city bought this. I think. All right, yeah, I'll wait to let me know when you want us to.
Okay, but I
pipe
did
in
want
for sure.
to explain that.
Yeah.
Those were some apartment buildings, single houses. I still have memories of standing, and this is going a little bit off, but to give you an idea of the neighborhood. When I took the Police Citizens Academy, we went there on a call because two neighbors were disagreeing and one of them owned guns. And it was
How is it related?
It's not.
Okay.
But it's related, and it wasn't a high income neighborhood
I'm still not following.
in terms of the cost of the property. these were somewhat very rundown apartment buildings and houses.
I guess really, from a practical standpoint, maybe some questions just to flush some things out a little bit.
Yes.
Might be along the lines of, as Jim was saying, is there history to using conservancy lands to finish a construction project? We don't know. So I think maybe people are looking for precedents, oh, the city's done this before, okay, let's do it again, or no, the city's never done it. So now are we in a position of having to set precedents, as a body in that sense?
I think,
And
Jim,
so
I think that's.
So I'm just saying that as throwing it out there. Go ahead.
And that could be resolved. Yeah, if you don't mind. I don't want to interrupt
Yeah.
because you guys are all.
No, I'm just saying that.
I would say that's something to Kevin, to your point about conditions, right? Conditions of approval, how to work together in a partnership. And again, for everyone's benefit, this is my first interaction with Kevin. Usually a lot of this stuff is hashed out with staff before we even get to a committee meeting.
Yeah.
My history. So I've been with T-Wall for 14 years. Usually it's a really collaborative process. And so,
Could you introduce all of the people that we know?
Taylor Brengel, Executive Vice President, Attorney for T-Wall. Haven.
Development assistant.
Yes.
And then Lane Brown, Director of Construction. So,
but yeah, to your point, and to Kevin's point, right? And a way to work together, right? That could be a condition of approval. Is there precedence here? If that's something that's important to this committee to say, hey, we don't want to be a precedent setter. We want to be, we don't want to set a new precedent maybe too, right? That's something where you could say, hey, as a condition to the council, when the council goes to approve this, just verify that this has been done. The fact that Mayor Brar, his name was on that TLE's Kevin Joy, they pointed out.
I was like, should I bring this up?
No, I think it's funny. I think that points out to my point, which is that's a form from the city.
Yeah.
This isn't new, guys. I do.
Yeah, that's what I'm
the
saying.
city
Okay.
all the time. This I did not think would be an issue. Now, let me take you through a couple things as we see it, right? And there's like this existential development process of working through with Plan Commission staff members, and then there's the real world, and that's why I brought Lane here, who's our construction director. So we can have the best laid plans, and then the contractors go and blow it all up, right? And so that's the situation we're in. Is we have been working with staff for years to try to make this work, to try to get these apartments to fit along the Conservancy line in an appropriate way. And we, as you saw in the plans that Kevin pointed out, right? We had fencing, right? We had planned for fencing along the property line. We have at the tightest point 4 feet, at the largest point 10 feet. And so at that point, the contractor, you're right, the contractor team was on there, right? Stevens Construction was on there. But what you may not understand is that as we engage a contractor, there's a lot of people that we work with to get a project built, right? So there's the general contractor, but then they have subs that they hire, and then they have subs of subs, and then subs of subs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so the reality is when the higher ups were planning this, they were saying, oh, yes, we can make this work. But in function, right? There's form and function. In function, the subcontractors are saying, hey, this is a little tight. It would be easier. And so what we're here for is, hey, if you want to say no and tell us to go pound sand, we'll find a way to make it work. Buildings are built in New York, Chicago, other large cities, metropolitan areas, all the time, right next to each other. I can do this, Kevin. But what I'm trying to do is come up with a solution where, hey, it helps our contractors for their safety to have a little bit more room. We restore that area appropriately. They put a proper erosion control measures. Let's say it's not 15 feet. I'm willing to work with you on 10 feet. Sure. Let's do 10 feet from the property line, put proper erosion control, and then we restore it with your seeds, but also with 10 trees or whatever the number, again, we're reasonable. I think 10 seems like a lot. But if let's say you're like, hey, we want 12 trees. Okay, that's fine. We're willing to make it work because I think safety is at the core. And again, you're talking to the attorney. And so if we can avoid an accident with our contractors because they're trying to stay off the Conservancy line or that property line, or if we can save some high schooler, right? I mean, yeah, there is no connection path, but we were all high schoolers once. If only the high schoolers, right, followed the exact paved paths that we had. I will tell you from being there, the high schoolers walk back there all the time. Pedestrians walk back there all the time.
Yeah.
And so if there's a way where we can get some relief from the property line, recognizing the fact that this isn't New York and there isn't a building right under it, there's precious Conservancy land. And I acknowledge that to Kevin, this Conservancy, it's a valued resource. Hence why we're putting an expensive apartment building next to it, because there's people that will want to live on there and they'll want to use those trails. And so this is a valued access point, and this is a valued resource for our future residents. And so that's where I kind of see this as, is there a win-win here? And the 10 trees don't have to go in that 8 feet. If Kevin's like, hey, I want the 10 trees, there, you know, like, fine, we'll make it work.
Someplace in the city.
Yeah, we got a contractor named Bruce Company. They're across the street actually from right here. We'll make it happen.
I guess like my big question, really more for, from the city staff perspective is, so, I'm thinking big hypothetical stuff here. Okay, we give you the easement and the property gets damaged, obviously, as a result of construction, but there's an opportunity to rebuild it as you're offering. Is restoration of it actually an opportunity for the city to take advantage of the fact that we could do
I can
more with it?
partially answer that. I met with Haven last week and had a request that the trees, and they could go wherever the city forester.
Oh, I'm thinking.
No,
bigger
but
picture.
I'm thinking,
bigger
let me
picture.
finish. Haven't finished.
Okay.
And then I asked, could we have adaptive restoration? Would they pay for having all of that restored to Oak Savannah, Prairie, whatever,
Sure.
so that it's
1000%. Because why? I don't want that hill eroding. I was here in 2018 before Kevin joined.
oh, you were
the
here for
staff.
the flood.
Does that, you guys all remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want that hill washing out, right? And so to the extent that we can participate or contribute in any way to make that area as sound as possible and protecting the pond there. I mean, yeah, I can, and I wish, it's hindsight, we print all these papers, all these different maps. I wish we would have done a zoom out, because the distances, there's enough distance to have proper protection. And this map kind of shows where the fence would go. And then let's show. Yeah, the fence, I mean, that just shows that it's really not a steep pitch in the area that we're talking about. It's pretty flat.
Right.
It
That was
plateaus
flat.
and then it kind of comes down.
So to Kevin's point,
And I
yeah,
guess again, my big picture question.
I'm sorry.
To city staff is very simple.
Yeah.
I'm talking, thinking future state. Okay, so we give them the easement, say that everybody agrees to it. And you do all your construction work, and we know the land's going to get torn up and it's going to get torn up bad. And you're willing to cover all costs of restoration. Let's just say we have an open checkbook and we can do whatever we want there to bring it back. Is it an opportunity for the city to actually improve the area from a conservancy standpoint, or is disrupting it right now saying, no, we'll never actually be able to restore it the way it's intended to be? So we have an opportunity here because someone's willing to pay for something to make it
Yes.
better, or
Question.
we just,
The
That's not a-
restoration that adaptive restoration does for a lot of conservancy.
and if you can't answer that question, then we
What's that?
back to the table. We say, well, tonight isn't even an appropriate place to make a decision on this. Maybe we need some time for you to reach out to adaptive restoration and
Yeah, I think
Would you be willing
it's hard to
to
say without,
afford your process of getting it restored.
whoops.
Kevin was talking.
Yeah,
just to answer,
So is-
yeah.
we've got multiple people.
Because he didn't get to finish.
I think it's difficult to say without really knowing what the extent of that damage is. I think in your scenario where, yeah, if you have unlimited funds to put to that, like I said to Tom in his question about the nature of the vegetation there, it's pretty typical of our whole creek corridor. And we are actively restoring in that whole area with hopes of introducing more native species, introducing those savanna landscapes. So I think there is the opportunity to add to it, but I also, worry that the impacts will be more permanent, or the attempts to restore might introduce, you can introduce more invasive species. You can introduce, very fertile soil that breed canary grass.
That's why I'm saying I leave it to the professionals. So if we can't make a decision here tonight,
I
Well,
think
that's why I'm asking for adaptive restoration to take 3 to 4 up to 5 years to restore it, like they do for other areas in the city. Specifically, I'm thinking of the Middleton Hills. What is it, 64?
Before is
On
Glacier
Glacier
Ridge.
Ridge.
Yeah.
Where that was just field grown up with all sorts of invasives. It's now completely restored prairie after about 5 years. And that's what I would like to see done.
Can I ask Kevin, to that point, are you saying that this area has no weeds and it's all native species? Because Lane's been out there a number of times. I believe the whole area we're talking about is noxious weeds.
There's a lot of bare areas.
The creek corridor in general is
Not talking about the creek corridor in general.
well, this is
Talking about the
typical of-
15 feet from our property. That was my question. Are there weeds?
Oh,
And
of
is it
course
all
there's
native?
weeds in there.
Okay.
Yeah,
So then the question,
yeah.
right, so then the end of the question, to your point, is are we gonna leave it in a better condition than it is now? I'm not a specialist, but I think the answer is yes.
My point was, and Mary's
If you're not a
for a long time.
specialist, then why are you answering your own question? Yes. If you
All right.
say you're not a specialist, then why are you making the statement that you can do it better than it was existing? I'm not disagreeing with your point, but I'm wondering why you're making these, what do you know about weeds and what do you know about restoration that you're making these statements?
Well, I understand, and I don't know if a response is warranted to that statement, but I've been there a number of times and I've seen the condition, and it's not the native prairie that Kevin's making it sound 15 feet from our property line. And so I guess, yeah, you're right. I'm not a specialist, but I'm sure I could find a specialist that would tell me in a letter that we'll be able to leave it in a better position than it is right now.
Yeah, Tom, we're getting too many unconnected. Tom, my request was to have adaptive restoration. Are you familiar with them?
Yes.
Have them do the restoration and T-Wall pay for it over a multi-year period.
Okay, if that's your intent, I hope you have the financial and legal people to tell you whether you can actually accomplish that. I would like to understand that they're actually going to follow through on that. But I also have a couple of questions. Could you put back
to Mary?
Yeah, Tom, if you don't mind, if you want to hold your questions.
Mary is next.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. We've talked about precedent. I think we're trying to focus on like this particular situation thus far. And when you all are making your plans and starting construction, do you consider the property lines final, like where you should not cross based on before asking for the easement?
For sure.
So then
For
what
sure.
I'm seeing from what Kevin presented tonight is that has not been respected. So for me, if I can finish talking, this is my first time speaking tonight, thank you. That hasn't been respected at all. So by extending it further, it feels like that's a further buffer to have someone go beyond the mark again. And I would like to know if during this construction process, like, yes, there are weeds like anywhere in the Conservancy. Find one Conservancy land that doesn't have weeds. It doesn't exist. Did you know that there was a 21-inch red oak in the area that you're asking about prior to right now?
Ready for me to respond?
Well, when you're talking
I understand.
about Savannah, you're talking about important. There are downwind effects of all of this, and I feel that just putting up a fence, hoping for the best for the future, respectively, Susan, I don't think that that's the correct path to go. I think we need to be thinking you can't rebuild you can't rebuild an ecosystem. So if we're thinking about the downwind effects of, okay, well, right now it's on this line and they've already gone over it. Where was that erosion sock found? How far was that? Keep adding it. And all of a sudden you're affecting things far beyond this beautiful fence.
Yeah, understood.
And so I don't think that there's a respect paid by T-Wall to this particular project, creating a safe place next to where water is flowing through, there's a downhill effect of whatever's happening up above. Sure, it might be flat where the fence goes. It doesn't mean that shifting soils aren't going to affect everything else on the hillside. So my recommendation would also be to deny this.
Appreciate that. Can I answer your two questions? One, your first question was about respecting boundaries.
Mhm.
The boundary violation was by MGE. I'm not saying that that's okay, but utility providers are outside of the scope of the general contract. And that's something I believe you are probably aware of that, but anyway,
I have the,
they're on, so public utility providers, they kind of go where they want to go and they don't have to necessarily, right, abide by, especially when they're on city property. So at the end of the day, Conservancy has domain over what's owned by the city.
Mhm.
And as far as it relates to contractual obligations between public utilities and cities, the public utility provider went where they went. That's not okay. We had an issue with Dane County. I mean, you want to speak to what happened in light of that?
Yep, so, are you talking like that,
Yeah, when the, well, no, here.
yeah,
When
so
we noticed what they were doing and we immediately called,
Yeah.
was it Hooper or was it MGE Direct?
it was a subcontractor of MGD. So we were notified by multiple different city staff of this as well in terms of once that was occurring. MGE in their regard, they're required to acquire all of the local permits that they need to before they excavate and do anything in that property. We already had an easement that was signed both by us and MGE and the city, because there was an adjustment to that. There was an 8-foot easement on the north side of that property that was reduced to 4 feet, both for our benefit and so that way it wasn't encroaching upon the Conservancy lands as it was.
And just one sec there. So, and all of this MGE work happened before Stevens mobilized, before Stevens was given the authorization to proceed. So again, we talked about, again, we're the property owner, we're responsible, totally understand that.
Yep.
But just as we understand that Steve, you know, you're like, oh, it's on the project team shows it's Stevens. Again, there's so many different layers to getting a project built, as I'm sure you can fully appreciate when you run your forester teams, right? There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot for us to mine. And yeah, this is extremely disappointing. I'm extremely upset. I don't want to be here right now cleaning up somebody else's mess. I'm upset. Okay. As I don't know, Kylie can probably attest. I only go to problem meetings. It's a fun position, T-Wall. Okay. I don't come to meetings. If you see me at a meeting, it's not a good thing. Okay. So if I didn't have to be here, I wouldn't be here. I will tell you, we can do it without this, but I'm also asking for collaboration and some kind of a recommendation. And, you know, again, I hear you. Definitely, it's disappointing and an example needs to be made. But at the same time, it's like we're in this situation and we're dedicated as the developer to try to fix it, try to remedy and try to put a Band-Aid on it. Again, understanding that there's a whole chain of ecosystem downstream. But again, what we're hoping to do is get this right and put a proper erosion control sock, probably erosion control fence, actually.
Yeah, so
Which is different than the sock that the contractor uses, the utility contractor. Utility contractors are like blunt knives, right? They just like do what they need to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that context is important.
I have a question about the easement. I was wondering if you could show that document again. And it's about the activities that you're asking to take place within that easement.
Tom, are you asking to see the,
Easement document with the construction activities on.
And
Yeah.
I'm not married to that easement. City processes, they've got a TLE format. If you're familiar with Matt Fleming, he's the city attorney. Matt Fleming gives us the form. This is that form, hence Mayor Brar. And then we fill in as much as we can. And then as soon as there's a recommendation or some kind of a nod from the committees and Common Council, then Matt usually reviews it and we work it all out. Again, collaboration is the name of the game. I've been doing this long enough to know that every good development happens through partnership with the municipality and meetings, usually in advance of the committee meetings, Kevin.
So this is where,
and I think that's my point. This plan commission went through in November of 2024. And this is the first we're hearing about
This
it.
construction started January 15th.
and we've
Land?
But
The plan was to stay off, Kylie. I showed you. You guys, you probably approved it, right? When Abby went around to get all the staff sign up, I'm sure you approved these plans.
Their comments, yes.
Exactly. And so those were in compliance and hence we got a building permit. We have a building permit now. So I can go forward, put the fence exactly on the property line without getting this easement, without adding 10 trees, without restoring technically, because that's an MG&E to work out with the city, because guess what? The city and MG&E are party to that easement. Okay, so that's MG&E. So if you guys want MG&E to go spread whatever seed mix they have, which I assure you, it's not the one cultivated by your conservancy division, right? Then go for it. Go with MG&E. That's not our contractor. That's somebody that is a utility provider that's in concert with the city. Again, city of Middleton's a signatory to that. So what we're looking to do is better that area. And I think
I'm trying to understand what you're asking this for. That's why I asked about the list of activities, and you're telling me, well, they don't really matter because that's just a form that the city throws up. So my question to you is, tell us, you describe this situation as having been the fault of MG&E because they went on the wrong side of the line, and you're not, that's not your fault. But then why are you're a fixer, right? So what are you fixing, and what is your fix? It seems like if you're trying to fix the fact that MG&E screwed up, you don't need an easement to do that.
yeah.
It seems like you're asking for an easement because, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you probably didn't anticipate correctly that you weren't going to be able to violate what was on those agreements, which was that the Conservancy was going to be stayed out of. And so if you can explain to us what it is that you actually expect to do in that 25-foot easement, that would be most helpful.
Yeah. So one, MG&E's easement is on the Conservancy. It's not on our property. MG&E didn't necessarily, technically, if you were to have MG&E here, they would say they didn't do anything wrong. They should have disposed of the erosion control sock, but they didn't do anything wrong. They were on the Conservancy land on an easement that straddles the property line.
Okay, but so what I'm asking you to explain to me is what you need this easement for.
Yeah, great question. So we need this easement.
You put together plans that said you wouldn't need it. Now you're saying you need it. So
Yep,
why
so
do
the
you
construction easement is mainly for, we will need lifts and scaffolding to put siding on. That's the main thing.
So you didn't
But we
anticipate
can
that
access
when
it
you did your
without it.
plans?
Isn't that funny? I don't need this. This is convenience.
Yeah.
And this is
So
enhancing
you are
the
asking
area.
for convenience. Okay.
And safety, right? We talk about, I think it's smart to put the fencing off of the construction area to keep high schoolers away, safely away. And then also our contractors can approach this in a more safe manner with this easement. So this gives a buffer. But, again, at the end of the day, if you guys report back, hey, you're denying this, and we drop this and we find another way and some high schooler gets hurt, just again, it's recorded right now.
Yeah.
I'm warning you that that's a possibility.
Okay, one thing I want
What
to
you
get
just
clear.
said sounds like a threat,
Tom,
and I don't appreciate
Come
that.
on now.
Tom,
Come on.
I need to speak. When did MG&E put in lines? Was that when the first building was built?
No, so the ones that we're referring to right now,
Yes.
that occurred middle of December.
Okay, this year,
Yes, 25. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
this past year.
Yep.
Okay, that makes a slight difference because I wasn't clear if it was when the original building was built or recent.
It was.
Okay.
So
it was recent.
Yep.
Yeah, that the city should have, I don't know who, MG&E should have let us know what was going on.
Yeah, and I know that they gave notice through Public Works in terms
Okay.
of how we'll get, again, I don't know what that process is as it relates to this committee, but
Yeah.
they did give notice through there because it did tie into public infrastructure at that point. They had their 4-foot easement that they're allowed to work in, but as Taylor said, based on how it straddles the property line, my guess is, again, as we can see, that it went over in terms of their use of that space. So that was relocating existing services that were put in previously, some private, some public, in order to get those within this new easement. That's where that initial activity occurred.
Okay, and Public Works should have brought that over here before it was put in. Mary,
There was one comment earlier, or one of my questions about whether you all were aware of the red oak that was there prior to right
Yes.
now.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why the plans show that we're gonna protect it.
Okay,
Although kind of difficult, because we can't put constructive fencing on the conservancy land without the city's consent. So it would just be protecting it within our property line. So just making sure that, again, we're talking about drip, as I'm sure most are aware with oaks, it's all about the drip zone, right? And so that's where the roots are. So just trying to keep off of those.
and then one last question.
Because
Why wasn't the original fence put in?
fence can be. So
It just hasn't been.
Stevens
Yeah.
just mobilized.
So we've just, so MG&E, just to clarify
Yeah.
chronologically,
Yeah,
MG&E did their work first. They started here in December. Leading up to that, myself and Steven's team and the other subcontractors involved were trying to find the most efficient solution for how we can get in here and try to stay as much on our property as possible. So while we were navigating this, myself, I have been in communication with Rich Wyhert, I think is what he said, since like June. And I think we had gone through 6 different site logistics plans to try to find a solution as far as just how we were going to shut things down, how we're going to access things from the street and so forth like that. So yes, we were aware of this. When we got to this stage, then it was a matter of trying to figure out, okay, again, can we do it? Yes. However, we understand that we're going to be really right up to it and right where you can see that there's some slope coming down. So that's how we kind of got to this stage where then we realized, okay, it's probably going to make the most sense to try to get this for access. There is, again, just to be clear from Kevin's points on that SIP submittal that went through 14 months ago, before we had a site logistics plan really in place. There's nothing permanent in there. There are no tiebacks. There's no pilings. There's no shoring. There's no
subterranean.
There's
work.
nothing below grade. What we're looking for, this request came through based on talking through with our team to safely be able to say, in order to have the erosion control measures that we need to do, which we had to get through Dane County. So we have, again, and with the MG&E thing, we were notified right away by our Dane County inspector that was occurring. So we got an erosion control plan approved by Dane County. That's recorded at city level as well. This fence is there to allow us to put all of our erosion control in, to allow us to have that scaffolding and that lift and to just truly have access. There's nothing permanent. There's nothing below ground. There's nothing below,
no subterranean. Yeah.
It is just, can we have our people and scaffolding and a lift to be able to go from around the building in that fashion.
It's important to point out because typically if this were city property, and again, as you guys are all probably well aware, T-Wall's done a lot of developments in Middleton alone. Typically with the city, with like Rich, you'd be like, hey, Rich, we need an easement. If it weren't a conservancy, right? This is a lot easier.
Yeah.
Okay. So then it's like, hey, we need an easement. And they're like, yeah, no problem. And then it usually just like literally I don't ever show up. You don't ever show up. It just gets through Public Works and then through Common Council without us having to show up at a meeting.
And similarly, this has worked the other way as well, when there have been city projects that have needed to have temporary access onto our private property. It's just, again, similar format, just in the reverse. In this situation, it just is, it impacts.
And more concrete on Tribeca Drive and Parmenter. When the city reconstructed Parmenter this past year, we as the property owner, because we own apartments up there, gave the city an easement and cooperated with them.
Can I ask, would this be different if it was a private parcel? If it was my Uncle Larry and he was like, stay off my lawn, like how does that change things?
Well, the MG&E easement's kind of the issue, right? And so it's kind of tough because you pull up that MG&E picture and it's like, you're asking for permission after. It's kind of like what I feel is you're asking for permission after you've already, and I think, I've got kids, right? Like I'm used to that, like with my kids being like, okay, you're asking for permission afterwards, right? That's not the case here because again, so it's not an adjoining, it's like a little different. But yeah, we would work with the adjoining property owner. If the adjoining property owner said no, then we'd figure another way to make it work. They've got amazing cranes now and there's ways to do it. It's just, is it safest? Is it efficient? And then again, is it best for the conservancy? Again, I go back to, like, I know what you mean. There's weeds everywhere, but like and unfortunately it's cold and it's snow covered now, but it looks like trash back there, off of our property line. And so I think that this is an enhancement that, again, I come back to like my conclusion statement is the city, specifically is the conservancy, in a better situation by granting this easement? And and I shouldn't answer my own question. And I leave that up to you, committee members,
Yeah.
so I don't answer my own question.
So
Make that
one of the-
determination.
Well, one of the things I heard from you specifically is you're dialing in kind of on the that section of it, grant of temporary easement and the specifications below it. Maybe does that need to be defined more? Like right now it says construction, fence, staging, job trailer. Okay, well, maybe what has to be on a list like this is what is permitted and that's it. And everything
But
else is
also,
not.
they would be willing to add on
Right, yeah.
so that it could get approved.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to see this.
I guess
I mean,
my
yeah.
point is okay, so in the early stages of this with the plan commission, way outside our scope and the other people, the plan commission and other people, and that are the developers and engineers dropped the ball, simply said, we get it. There's the property line and we can work within it. But in reality, in retrospect and sitting back, that was inadequate. And so here we are asking, okay, I understand that. I mean, you don't want to be here. So,
It's nothing personal.
right. Oh, but no, I mean, I'm
Yeah. Asking for this,
I'm just
right?
trying to be pragmatic
Yeah.
about it
No, you're right.
in that sense.
And
I wholeheartedly agree. I understand. We do not want to just disrupt and disturb the conservancy. We are obligated. That is our duty as conservancy and lands. It's like being managing a trust. You are the fiduciary agent, and it's your responsibility to do no harm for your client. So that is our job. But
that's why I'm suggesting that we have them restore this whole big area up there over a several year time period.
so that
Get
would
it
be
up
fine.
what the
So we
city
write it
would
into
want it
this.
to be. And that's what I would like to see added in.
I think as chair, that would be your prerogative to
Yeah.
make an alternative
So-
motion to city staff recommendation.
Yeah, to make it so that they're paying Adaptive Restoration, which is the company that does all the restorations for the city. So they're extremely knowledgeable about appropriate seeds to go in there. They'll come.
So are you, Susan, are you suggesting then? Yes, Kylie. I mean,
I see we have two choices.
so we have a motion in front of us and we either have to vote on it or substitute it.
Yes, but let me sort of explain. We've got three choices.
Okay,
One is totally turn it down,
yep.
and then it stays undeveloped, degraded land there, which is what it is. And they have to build in an unsafe way, is sort of it.
There's the mature oak tree there.
Yeah, and the mature oak tree would have to stay. So they can't take the oak tree down. They really can't go over onto city property for safety reasons. And somehow they got to get the building built and hopefully nobody gets hurt is one option.
So you're saying no easement is option number one
Yes,
and protect the tree,
and
which
protect the tree.
obviously
And that's,
is there already.
yeah,
So that's voting it down. That's saying,
yes, that's saying no.
okay,
Then another
the
option
motion, an alternate motion would be,
to grant what they're asking,
okay,
which is to put in the fence,
easement.
the
allow easement.
easement,
Okay,
and then they would provide 10 trees to go somewhere. Then
that's what they're proposing.
that's what they're proposing.
Okay,
And what I'm suggesting
there's a third.
as a third option is give them what they're proposing with the requirement of totally restoring that whole upper area
Oh,
where it goes down to the creek by adaptive restoration, a company that knows what they're doing.
sure. I see. So you're saying instead
So
of
that we get it,
accepting their restoration recommendations, we just defer to adaptive.
yeah, we let adaptive restore it completely, and then the city doesn't have to pay for it.
Something to add.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to think through the process. I'm not making. any
no, that's a good
suggestions.
question.
I'm just,
And we
that's
need
all
to
I'm
get
trying
it
to do is
explained that
think through the
way.
process. So, yeah.
So I just want to throw out there, like, we definitely heard Kevin had spent numerous hours, not only in the past 14 months, longer, our city staff has with,
Yeah, not me.
our city staff as a whole going through this process. We have an identified process. We have an identified process for a reason, because we do a lot of, we work with a lot of developers throughout the city. And we have limited staff and resources to maintain the lands, to maintain what we offer in our department for services throughout, not only for developers, but for the community. And so we went through this process, and it identified that no construction past the property line. We don't take this decision lightly, in that we're reviewing. And when we say decision or recommendation to the Conservancy Lands Committee, we don't take that lightly. We know that precedent is very, very important with how we make decisions. And I think your mission follows what our mission is for our department, which is the protect and conserve the Conservancy lands. That's what our department's goal is, and making decisions based off of the best for the community. I think when we are presented with this in front of us, Kevin gave a really, really awesome outline of what the facts are on this project and what is being requested and how it can ultimately affect our lands. We don't have an assessed value on that, because we didn't have proper time to get that assessed value. And with the timeline that is laid out with the contractor or with the developer, we're not able to get an assessed value of a proper assessed value of the land. So we're looking at contingencies, or if this approve, or if so moved to go forward with a limited term easement, for suggested contingencies of what Susan brought up. I think it's important that our stance as staff is still denial, as with the goal to protect and conserve the Conservancy lands and improve their quality, and throughout our mission and vision of the department, and what that holds for the community. And then so we're going to stand strong with that denial of approving the limited term easement. And then we also have prepared contingencies that we find valuable to the Common Council. And if you so choose to go with some of these contingencies, we'd still like to see denial. But then if we move forward with contingencies, just offering that to Common Council if they want to move forward with approval. And I think it's important, Conservancy lands, if this continues to come with future developments, if we're focusing on restoring land from developers, essentially ruining it, I don't know what other word to use besides that, then we aren't doing our jobs well. So I would like Kevin to take a look and read those contingencies and put them up on here, if you so choose to look at approval, recommending approval to Common Council, so that those can be presented to you tonight.
Yeah, and I'll just add this, this is an unanswered question. There's a perceived urgency, I assume on your part, because you started construction, but is that a fair question?
We don't,
could we come back in a month's time with contingencies that we'd like to see, involved in this easement?
Can there be some, I'm gonna let Lane answer that in a minute. There seems to be opposition from staff to be cooperative. And I hate to air this kind of stuff out here, but I tried to do this privately and you guys wouldn't meet with us.
Well,
And so, no, let me finish. And so it's kind of hard when the committee's working on solutions and then you're like, well, still deny. And we have contingencies that we've already prepared and not shared with us. What's the end goal? Is it just you just want to put your foot in the sand? Because when you're like, well, we want to follow plan commission minutes and plan commission staff comments and all these, Kylie, at that point, I wasn't asking for an easement. We thought we could stay off the conservancy so we wouldn't have to deal with this. Okay. So you're acting like we did something wrong here. We're here at the table trying to come up with a solution. And it's like every turn I'm getting a loaded gun where you've already got these contingencies. Why didn't you share them with me? Last week we tried to reach out. Months ago we tried to reach out, right? What if you had these prepared? Why weren't these shared with us so that we don't have to air this in front of these volunteers who are volunteering their time? Remember, you're paid staff, right? And so daytime is when we should be working this out. So we save everyone the hour and a half of their volunteer time, right?
Did,
yeah, should,
And by, obviously, whatever we decide still goes to the common council.
Yeah, no, that's the vote on.
Council
Yeah,
gets
no,
to
you're
vote
right.
on
Yeah,
it.
no.
Recommendation.
Yeah,
For
Yeah.
sure.
and so and
I'm also concerned, when did Public Works bring this to you? Did you get enough notice from Public Works about some of these issues?
This was presented, the like limited term easement with all the documents, and that was presented on Thursday, and to come around and put an agenda out and be
Whoa,
prepared.
Yeah, I mean,
The limited term
Oh,
easement.
Kylie, you knew about this well long ago because I met with Abby, I met with Brian, I met with Bill. Who else was at that meeting? Oh, the mayor.
Yeah.
And the mayor was going to bring it to you. So you didn't hear about this until last Thursday when you published
The date of
the
that
agenda
meeting?
without our application materials?
What was the date of that meeting, Taylor?
Can you look it up? 3 weeks ago, I met with the mayor. Wasn't that?
3 weeks
Well, I'll
ago.
verify the
Yeah.
meeting date, but it seems weird because the background on my hostility is Kevin told Haven that Thursday is the deadline to get application materials to post Friday. We turned them in at 2:51 p.m. on Thursday, and our application materials weren't included on Friday. So I'm trying to move
Yeah.
past that and be cooperative, but I feel like we're walking into a situation where every turn you're trying to stop us from having a cooperative process, right?
And I think we have an identified process that has happened, and we did give a deadline of noon on Thursday.
When?
And
That was never given. Noon was never mentioned by Kevin to my staff. And it's not an ordinance, Kylie.
no, it's not.
It's arbitrary.
Yeah,
So you set a time, just,
We
oh,
set-
today it's noon, tomorrow it'll be 1. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It seems unfair, right?
I also think that we are at the table tonight to work through this, and this is where we're at, and we've spent a numerous amount of time to come up with what we can recommend to the committee members. And I know that our recommendation isn't on board exactly with the developer, of course, and it's not going to be we're not coming into it on the same page, and I understand that that's frustrating for your
Nor do I expect it.
Yeah.
Right? I've done this long enough to know that there's
Yeah.
cooperation, collaboration. That's how any good development is done, is working
Yeah.
with the city. It just seems like hostile when the committee's trying to work on solutions and you're like, well, we still stick our foot in the sand and we're going
I'm
to
sorry
deny.
you feel that way.
Okay.
I hope
It's not feeling, it's reality.
Yeah.
You're denying it and you're not trying to find a way forward.
yep, all right.
So, I just want to,
And I'm not the committee. The committee is able to
Ultimate
make,
decision maker, yeah.
yeah,
they're the ones that they don't ultimately make the decision. They're a recommendation body to the.
make the recommendation. to
Understood,
council.
yeah.
Yeah.
But they make it for you don't make the recommendation for the committee. The committee makes the recommendation to council.
I mean, I would personally to say for myself, in my experience, and being on various committees, commissions and council, I look to staff for professional guidance and
Yes.
technical expertise.
As most committees do.
I mean, I really do, so, and that's where I stand. Obviously, as represented at a from a from a counselor standpoint with the city, looking at the big picture, we want housing development in the city, and we want to see the growth and development, obviously, that T-Wall brings to the city and things like that. So we need to work with everybody. We need to be as reasonable as possible.
I appreciate that.
And so I think, so if sometimes if something's rushed, but we can take a step back and let staff work on it some more, people think through it a little bit more. I'm always in favor of that, instead of us being forced kind of into a decision process.
I will add, I was on council back in 2010 when Scott Walker took away the ability of all municipalities to raise the levy to cover inflation. So the city of Middleton, 2010, has been covering inflation costs by the new revenue from
And new construction.
new construction. And that is why we are so short on staff. And that's why I'm suggesting if we've got a developer that can and is willing to pay for fully restoring this more area than what we're talking about that they're asking, we take advantage of it.
Susan, if I may, Nathan, you said you had a deadline
gotta
at
leave.
7:30.
I do have to, yeah.
We do still have a quorum if you need to leave.
Okay, yeah, I actually have one question. Like, is it impossible for the tree still like to be protected with the easement? Like, is that even something that would actually happen, or is that?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I can speak firsthand. I have an oak tree in the back of my house. I built a new house, and yeah, the contractor just puts a ring around the tree to protect it. So actually, this is a safer, I think, approach, because it gives the contractors room to work around on our property. Because remember, there's 8 feet from our property line to our building, so then we can utilize some of that area and kind of work around it. So,
So
great
the
question.
tree would be protected.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all
For sure.
acknowledge that oak is valuable. They don't, again, we're saying we can get 10, 1.5 or to 3 inch caliper trees. This is is it a 24 inch caliper?
21 was the diameter.
21. And is diameter and caliper the same thing?
Diameter is measured 4.5 feet above the ground. Calipers either a foot or it's a measurement above the root ball.
Yeah, so that red oak's valuable. And again, when I look at development, it's those kind of unique environmental factors that enhance the development, right? Having the Conservancy with, awesome trees. So it's a great question.
Okay, so we feel bad about going. Should we?
Yeah.
You have class
Can we see the
tomorrow.
rest of the
Kevin, you had
presentation that
asked,
staff
sorry.
had prepared? You mentioned some other contingencies that you had wanted to show. Could we see that as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. So, I'm sorry.
Okay, you had just asked earlier the timing and
Your timeline, yeah.
So we have about 3 to 4 weeks of work of utility work that we're doing, that we're working with public works, like in the street and with an underground stormwater detention in our own parking lot and so forth. So we're not going to be on this spot tomorrow.
Mhm.
Ideally, again, our goal is to try to get it resolved
So
as soon
it's-
as possible, so that way we can be where we want to be in a month. But I'm not looking forward necessarily today, tomorrow. I have work that needs to happen. So this is still preparatory, at least in our minds.
Sure.
Just wanted to answer that question.
And think and to address your Taylor, just the I don't mean to be come off as confrontational. I think where I'm coming from is, I look at like that document that had the staff team, there's a general contractor listed, a civil engineer, structural engineer. And it boggles my mind to think that you wouldn't have come up with that. Like somebody said, hey, you know what? We might want to have more room over here. And you came in here and the first thing you said was, I really want to have a collaborative approach with staff. This is usually how we do that. And I just don't understand. I don't know anything about construction. nothing at all. But I just look at that list and I don't understand how no one would say, I think we might need more than 8 feet here.
Yeah.
And had you come to us, this committee, at that point, I think there'd be much more openness to working with you. So, you mentioned staff time too. Like, I've worked a lot on this project, and I haven't posted your conservancy lands tech position, which I need to get up. There's so much stuff I haven't got done because I'm working on this.
Yeah.
We put this together like hours before this meeting, so it's not like we're trying to hide something from you.
No, that's
Not
fine.
give you anything.
Yeah.
Like, we can start the clock now and be cooperative. And I think if you have a time period, I would suggest that you come back to this commission or this committee as time is available, and we can work together and figure something out.
Yeah, as long as-
I have a question. Did this come up at city staff meeting?
What city staff meeting?
You don't have city staff meetings.
I have staff meetings with my city forester and my conservancy lands crew
Okay.
and my planning department.
I know.
You mean, you're talking about a senior level staff, like,
Yes.
Not that city staff meeting, I was not at that, or like, their city staff meeting, I had 5 meetings today, like, there's meetings.
yeah,
Let me finish explaining what I want to say.
I understand.
Before we had Brian as the administrator, city staff, which was Public Lands, Public Works, and so on, always met every week and discussed issues like this. And because these two departments are on opposite side of the building, they don't even run into each other. So that's,
Yeah, I mean, this can be tabled. It doesn't have to be voted up. It doesn't have to be voted down. It can be tabled to allow staff to think about collaborate, think about
Yeah.
the contingencies. If you would be more comfortable with that, I can assure you, I know that our staff is very, very stretched slim.
very
I mean,
thin.
Yeah.
You know, we only have one person to do one of each job in the city.
Most of them do 2 jobs.
Well, what I mean is there isn't an assistant to Kylie or Kevin or any of these folks.
Understood.
So, you know, we're relying on their expertise to maybe have an opportunity to sit back, look at this, and maybe have a dialogue with the technical people on your side. And I don't know if you would feel more comfortable with that and not feel pushed on such a timeline.
I think my biggest point is that, like, with the tree, we don't have evaluation of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah, so it's hard to,
you can work on that stuff and not be pressured to hear in a meeting.
it's hard to just spitball, yeah.
Yeah, the one issue about having a tree evaluation done is it's a near, how much is it to
But we're gonna
evaluate?
keep the example.
Keep the
Well, and
tree.
I think that's something that we could discuss if
See, what I'm saying is, I think if you just put together, you put together your wish list to them to say, okay, we understand you need 15 feet. And in our expert opinion, if we were to give it to you, these are all the contingencies that you guys know of. And if you need to reach out
And
to
you're-
adaptive restoration and ask some questions.
And make your wish list and see,
And then
let
resubmit.
you guys
Yeah.
work it out.
I just feel, I don't want you to.
how do you make that motion?
We table it.
We
Because
table it.
if we just,
But then
Well-
it's not coming back to, it's not coming back for a whole month. And then like to have,
well, we could, I mean, if this is that important, we hold a special meeting.
Yeah, we can hold a
that's
special
nice.
meeting.
Thank you.
I
Susan
mean,
can-
special meeting to,
Just for this one item. And we,
Notice and we've done that before. I appreciate that. I've done that with planning commission before. I appreciate that. And again, you know, I hate that this wasn't able to be planned ahead of time, but I can also tell you that in development, I think you attached our plan set, it's like 140 pages. I mean, there are so many moving parts, and to the extent we can stay off of a neighbor's property, we want to do so. But it just seems like now that MGE's done what they did, it's kind of like you know,
Yeah.
we're in this situation. So yeah, hindsight's 2020. And again, I wish I wasn't, I wish I wasn't here with you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I don't want to make this request. I don't want to ask for favors, but to the extent that you're able to say, hey, we've got this wish list and let's collaborate, but then I'm going to need to meet with you. And I think that was the rub is I tried to meet with you before and you're like, oh, no, I don't have time. Just shoot me an email.
Well-
And I think email is not the same effect as in person.
Yeah, and that letter's dated the 22nd, and like I said, there's a lot of stuff that we're needing to work on, and I like doing your agenda, guys, but I don't spend a lot of time on it. I spend as minimal time as I can.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I just want to ask a question because I do understand and empathize with all of your positions, especially considering you don't feel like you had adequate time to review this. And I think again, I just want to kind of learn myself here as well. Typically, again, this is not the first project we've done in Middleton. When I've needed to go through site logistics or street occupancy, things like that, I typically work through Jim Scholander, Rich, others in that regard. Again, I realize that you got looped into this like in December, January. I just look back, the first plan I sent to Rich was on June 16th of last year. I'll be honest, I didn't even realize that this was necessary.
Yeah.
It showed on that plan, it didn't show necessarily the same thing, but it shows an access, looking at it right now, that it shows that we were looking to not necessarily have the 15 feet, it wasn't dimensioned or anything, but that we were looking to be probably right up to the property line in terms of our access point. I got comments back from him in August with that, and it looks like I was at that point we were trying to again determine, and it was if I scaled it off, it's about like 8 feet potentially for construction access. No comments are on that at all, and I was never informed at that time that this needed to go through Conservancy Land Committee. So again, if that's an error, an oversight that we need to be more mindful of in the future, totally understand that. However, again, I know that he looped you in kind of late to the game, but this wasn't like we just pulled it out of our head one day and we're like, we're starting in 2 days, we're going to send it through. This has been 6-7 months in negotiation. Like I said, we're on version 6 of our site logistics plan that I've worked through with Rich. And again, I've taken his comments, we've made adjustments, I've resubmitted them back. We've looked at all the adjustments we need to make with MG&E as well. So again, I understand you guys are going to look at this. You have your priorities with the Conservancy lands, and I want to be respectful of that. But again, we're not necessarily coming in here trying to force something. It's just, I wasn't even aware. It didn't say anything in our SIP that we had to go through here to make sure that we had committee.
Yeah, I
It
think,
was the mayor that told us that we had to go to CLC 2 weeks ago.
So
and that,
we just,
Abby or the mayor, or
Yeah.
Matt Funk was there too.
yeah.
It's-
Yeah, they're like, yeah, the process is to go to CLC before it goes. So they're like, hey,
And there might have to go to plan commission potentially. We looked at that because we weren't sure. But it did not have to, but this isn't, I mean, if we believe that like we're making comments on parkland or conservancy land on SIPs or within planning documents, like that's our comment, and we know it, and then it goes and it's like contingent upon, and we know that it's contingent upon engineering comments, and we're like, okay, that's how we're following our process, right? So if you're going to get a building permit and it has that on there before a building permit, you might want to ask, like at some point time that you noticed that you needed a larger chunk, or you wanted to cross the property line, then consulting, like, this is what our approval says, what do we have to do to go extend onto property?
and I don't want to extend this any longer, but I mean, usually it's city engineering that would say, hey, you got to do that. So like our single point of contact
Yeah.
is, so it's planning for the planning stuff, but then easements are engineering. And so I think and I don't know if it's constructive, but it's
I mean,
neither here nor there. I'm with you.
We need to work, as this committee needs to let city administration and engineering know that things that are dealing with conservancy lands need to come to this committee early enough so that we can give reasonable, good, valid
You know, I'm thinking,
We all agree this should happen.
Well,
yeah,
it was requested and it was put on the agenda, right? At the
Yes.
time, when it was formally requested, it was put on the agenda to
Yeah,
follow.
and we need to
Staff was-
change this policy so that they give you guys plenty of time.
I mean, things happen where time is hard to always work through, and
Yeah.
I understand.
I guess the big question for this body and Jim and everybody, Tom and Lorraine, is, you know, before you make a substitute motion and before we vote is, or that could be the substitution or vote is, do we want to take a stance and say, you know, no, it's an inflexible process and you don't encroach on conservancy lands, done, or do you have questions and reservations like I personally do, in the sense that I feel if we could give staff some more time, I'm certainly willing to come back and have another meeting
Yeah.
and hash this through. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So, and I just feel, I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, Dave,
Back
I
in-
have to say, I agree with that approach. I think that staff does need a little bit more time. There's some reasonable starting points here, and a little more time will help to think it through and hopefully, you know, have a solution that everybody is satisfied with.
I think I would.
I mean, is that
completely with
what, for time wise, and staff has evaluated it for time wise, what, before the next meeting, what, would you like to see more directly? Like, what don't you feel comfortable with?
I think Susan put forth some ideas about it be,
Solve all of it.
yeah.
Basically,
So
they
basically
provide
saying,
us
I guess the
enhancement.
contingent, part of the contingencies of being granted the easement would be,
And we have thought through all of those, on the screen here and put.
so you're saying, okay,
With what contingencies, if we want to move forward at this meeting, because we believe that it was on fire to move through the process, like.
Yeah. And I,
so you feel you don't need any more time?
I mean, to
Sir, look at-
take. more-
David, I think the thought here was like, and I'll say again, I think the best way to protect the conservancy is to put that fence up on the property line. And just purely that, not making other considerations for the construction or the
Okay.
safety of the workers, but just that simple fact.
That's it. Yeah.
I think that's the best way to protect the conservancy. And I thought that might be how this committee might see that as well. But what I worried about was that the Common Council may see that otherwise, and would want to have some things. So these are stuff that literally
Yeah.
came together.
I
they're-
totally respect
But
that.
they're not based on, you know, this is not talking through restoration efforts or really having an understanding what the potential damages are to the area. Like just you know, my very limited knowledge of this type of thing. Like, I don't think that tree's gonna survive effects without, you know, that original protection fencing. So these are things that you know, I'm trying to put this together in a way that you know, I'd love if this committee said we're going to deny this request, and then Common Council went along with that recommendation. That's great. If they choose to go otherwise,
See, that's my
some
concern.
things that we're considering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it gets up to Common
And-
Council.
But this, yeah, and I feel like that's what is prepared, that if it does go to Common Council, here's what is mapped out, for.
My concern is Common Council might say, well, we want to kick it back to a committee.
Well, that's all, I mean,
Are we talking about $10,000 here
with a,
in your
Yeah.
contingencies?
10,000
that's
monetary.
theirs.
Monetary, that's it?
Yeah.
Or I don't mean that's it. Is there anything else in a quick review of this?
I mean,
This-
there's
Talking about $10,000?
for like,
Because we're gonna spend that much on 10 trees. So if $10,000 is the dollar amount that you're suggesting with contingencies, and if this committee is like, okay, we understand that, yeah, it might get kicked back here if you guys deny it. If staff's okay with these enough to spend time putting them together,
mean, we are.
Oh, sorry, they're still in denial. I understand your official party position,
Okay.
but the committee can make their own decision. And I don't, by the way, like when you say like, I would love it if you denied it. That seems a little loaded, and I've never heard staff say stuff like that. But anyways, put all that stuff aside, because I think I'm realizing that it's almost 8 o'clock, and I feel bad that we've got volunteers here. So if these are the contingencies, I think I can get this. What was that?
And yeah, they wouldn't have to be here.
So then
Very
option number 4, if you guys would have spent an hour with me in advance, you know what I mean? So if option number 4 is accept with the conditions recommended by, or, resistant with staff, but the conditions that you guys came up with, is that number 4, is that something that the committee could consider? If, again, I still have to get.
I personally don't, because I'd like to be sure everybody's safe.
But this gets that, right? This gets that
Well,
fence, and it gets the trees and
at
restoration.
very limits of the minimum limits for safety, I'm
Okay.
thinking.
So you're saying more than 15-foot easement?
No, I could deal, I can't read that.
Oh, yeah, I got you. I had a hard time too.
It's just too small a print.
Basically, it's the 15 feet that we asked for.
If
With
if you
fencing.
guys feel the 15 feet is truly adequate to provide the safety that you need,
Does it provide the safety for the red oak?
Yeah, I mean, I think
I think.
I think so. I mean, the thing.
So the red oak would be on the inside of that fencing.
Yeah, it's basically right. It's kind of right at it, very close in terms of that. So that would be contained within there. At that point. So.
Can I ask a question? Because I'm the public works liaison. I just want to make sure that I'm reporting things back appropriately. And a few minutes ago, there was a comment like, oh, the city engineer should have commented this during the planning or something. What exactly should they have done that was not done that would have avoided this on your end if you wanted to keep the structure exactly how it was planned?
Yeah.
And not have this.
No, great. Yeah, great question. It's basically it would have been when Lane was corresponding with the city engineers for them to
Did the
realize
city
that this is on conservancy land, and then they would have been like, hey, we need CLC's
Yeah.
consent.
Did they realize it was conservancy land when you were talking with Rick?
Personally, I didn't realize it was.
We just thought it was city.
And it, yeah, it just,
Okay.
because.
I didn't
I
understand
think
the
that's where the
distinction.
problem's coming.
Yeah.
It was
Sure.
not made.
City land, but it wasn't designated as conservancy city land.
Yeah, so
And you have the normal process for a TLE with the city's relative straightforward and easy.
Just as.
So staff needs
just.
of all different, city administrator and mayor, I will tell the mayor,
That would be.
make sure they know
Might not open the
that
situation, but.
city engineering
Anyway.
knows what is conservancy land, and if it's near conservancy land, not even adjacent, but near, they work with them. So we don't have this problem in the future.
So what is your motion?
I get to make the motion.
Well, you have to. You're the chair.
Yeah. Okay, I would recommend we table this with the request that the city engineers work with Kevin and that T-Wall provides a proposal that could address all of these things you've heard tonight as to how you want to do it, with the goal of it optimally getting resolved for everybody.
So
I
then,
think you've heard what,
yeah, so then the question I think
About-
for city staff is, the city staff made a recommendation as a motion tonight, which is to,
yeah, I would,
I think the question then for city staff is when we come back at the next meeting, the same motion will still be before us.
I would suggest, I would make a motion that we deny the request tonight and the city staff, both engineering and conservancy lands, work together so they're fully understanding of all these issues for city property in the future, and that T-Wall bring back a proposal after hearing this discussion and work with both conservancy lands and engineering.
So the motion would be to require a special meeting.
And we would have a special CLC meeting.
Yeah. Because we're denying the motion tonight.
Right.
contingent
So-
on.
Are you denying the motion or are you recommending denial?
Or we table it. If
We are
table
tabling them.
Table it, if we table it, it's tabled, but Kylie, if we table a motion, the way it's,
The motion that.
well, the recommendation that's up on the agenda tonight.
Tabling.
Tabling the agenda item.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Tabling.
so, yeah, right, so,
Motion is staff.
right, so if we table,
Motion's on the table here.
yeah, so if we table
We table the agenda item.
if we table the agenda item, that means it has to be brought back to us with the exact same language?
No,
No? That's that's what I'm getting.
I don't think so.
Yeah. It's a procedure.
I'm getting hung up on procedure.
Well, so tabling, so what's the goal? The goal is to have staff work more hours on this and have a special meeting.
Yep.
To have it brought back to hopefully come up to a collaborative effort, right?
Yes,
We'd come back
that's
to
it.
Yeah.
here after city staff has already had a meeting with T-Wall and told them to meet with Conservancy Lands and city
that's-
administrator, and that have
And engineering. Engineering needs to get involved in this.
they have been involved in this. But
I mean, with you guys.
yep. Then that's the direction that you would like staff to work through as a staff team, as we do. City of Middleton. Then working with T-Wall Enterprises to continue to work through this request that they have presented to the city. Is that what I'm hearing? That's what you want, direction to staff? I just want to make sure we're clear on what we're doing and how we're following up on this.
Yeah, because I mean, I think.
I don't think,
With the goal to come back to this body and.
Or we take a vote right now. The option is we take a vote right now for everybody's here. And we see if we deny it.
yeah, I don't know that we want to deny it yet.
Right. So then.
I think I,
Think
have
you
to-
can only take a vote off of a motion, like, so you would have to have a motion on the table. Someone would make.
Yeah,
a
we haven't
motion.
made a motion
we
yet.
haven't made a motion.
You can make an alternate motion.
Yeah, we can always make an alternate motion.
So
But there isn't a motion.
Yes, so I will make a motion.
Okay.
I will move that we refer
alternate motion, yeah.
an alternate.
Oh, you can.
No motion.
No, we don't, it's
Oh,
not.
we don't have a, okay, yeah, you're making a motion.
I am making a motion that Public Works and Public Lands work together so they fully understand all the issues. And Terrence brings back a proposal to both of those, hopefully at the same time. And then they work through and bring us something.
So you want something new, bro?
Well,
Yep.
work through what they propose, what your constraints are, and see what we get.
I guess,
And if you
yeah,
can't-
bottom line is
Summarize that in a way I can write it in a sentence.
basically, the Conservancy and Lands Committee is rejecting staff recommendation and proposing an alternate to staff, which is to bring something different back to us that would answer the questions of, can we, if we allow the 15-foot easement.
And we brought that tonight.
So you're saying this, you're inflexible on this. This
No,
is the only
I'm
option.
just saying, we brought that tonight, so
Yep.
it would be helpful to
It's
understand.
helpful, but
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I think it's,
Is 10 trees what we want in addition to the saving the oak tree is, you know, is what we want and the dollar amount? That's what I'm saying.
but you guys haven't heard what they might want
That's right.
to add as additional, and I
That's right.
think that's important.
Precisely.
Because this is something that affects the entire city. It's not just
Yeah.
conservancy lands, it's also housing,
So,
making
so the motion is to,
work together and bring back a new proposal.
that's right. Just bring something back different than what we've been presented with tonight.
Now, it can have all of that with something added if you want.
Is it as simple as saying, motion to direct staff to work with developer to
Yep.
to
Come up with,
determine.
To
Yeah.
develop conditions that would be acceptable to both parties for an easement.
Yes, there you go.
yes,
Thanks,
well,
Tom.
to all three parties, staff, committee, T-Wall.
All
Yeah.
parties.
Yes, all parties. And it might take.
I just think if we shut it down and boot it up to common council, they're gonna have the same conversation again.
You know it.
I mean, I really,
I've been here.
I really feel that.
And
I-
they're
there-
not as informed about all the issues.
I mean, there will be those
I-
on common council, a few who will say, no, it's conservancy and that might draw a line. Then there are gonna be those who are gonna, be asking a lot of questions.
I've taken motions to council that were rejected by committees and such, and they get passed, and it's not how I want to do it.
Right, it's
So
not, it's
to the
not.
extent that you're willing to put in the time to have a special meeting to resolve this, thank you. Thank you for your
Yeah.
time tonight, and thank you in advance to staff for coming to the table
And the
and
council.
presenting these. I can,
Yeah.
if you send these to me, Kevin, I can make this pretty painless.
Yeah,
I think we could do this in less than half an hour.
You bet.
I can take all these comments, incorporate them into the easement, resubmit it, and then we've got something where it's. I would love to come back here where it's staff recommends supporting the attached easement because we've worked together. Collaboration, name of the game.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
read this.
Yes,
so-
please read it.
So I,
Yeah.
so that I have it
Taylor,
correct
I
here.
think-
Forget it.
Say it again.
I think that's the value of taking the time to do that. Yes, there might be similar conversations at the next meeting, but if we have something that we've worked through and agree on, I think that will be acceptable.
So what I have written down is motion to direct staff to work with developer and to bring forth a proposal that is agreeable to all parties. Am I missing anything?
I think I would say public works and
How
engineering.
about one at a time?
And public works and public lands for staff.
That's, your original line of thought about adaptive restoration. I just don't know how you want to work them.
It's up to them.
Okay,
And I think
That's their
right.
proposal.
I think they have, I think Kevin, you have that under 0.5. Again, my eyes are not the best, but it looks like developer shall provide funding of $4,000 for rehabilitation.
Yeah, and I'll acknowledge that's completely spitballed. It's
okay.
without
Yeah, that's fine.
it's like
Maybe you want to talk to,
sure.
what's the?
Adaptive.
Adaptive restoration.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
not able to
Hear that number?
but yeah,
And so to the extent you guys want to do that restoration, we pay you for it. We're having
Yeah.
to pay, I don't do it myself, unfortunately. I don't have a green thumb,
Take a,
so.
yeah, we have to, we'll just.
So you can either choose whether you want us to do it, but let's do that in a meeting. And
That's-
unless
Adaptive
again,
restoration.
I would love to save your time next time, where it's just like a 15 minutes. Hey, we got an agreement with staff. Let's go.
and that we could maybe even do online.
so was there anything missing from that motion?
Okay, read it again.
Motion to direct staff to work with developer and to bring forth to this committee a proposal that is agreeable to all parties.
Perfect.
Yeah,
To this committee.
yes.
So that's the motion as stated.
Yes.
We have a second.
You're the
I
one,
second.
I'm running this. You
Okay,
said,
that was Tom. Bernthal.
Oh, sorry.
So,
Tom did it?
so
Okay.
Susan,
I made the motion.
All right. Well, my brain's done.
say,
And
and then you
I
can
know
ask,
adaptive
you can
very
ask if
well. If
there's-
you want to contact me, we can talk about it.
You have a motion and a second.
Yep.
Yes.
Is there any discussion?
Do we need any discussion? Is there any
Sure.
discussion?
Hour's fine.
No, I have to go pick my grandson up from
All right, so then we have to vote.
way out there.
Keep continuing, but, so everybody.
Okay, can you take a vote, please?
Yes. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining?
Same.
Priest abstaining. Holly.
You can vote. That's right.
So it's. I vote no. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I know.
4 yes, 2 noes, motion passed.
A long time ago, it's best to vote yes or no. Abstaining is,
You don't know enough about the thing.
So, then.
So,
Next item.
and then do we need to set a date for a meeting?
sure.
Not, on agenda item right now.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
On the agenda, so that can be determined, through or email.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
correct.
And
Sorry, only just one question. Just to be clear then, would our point of contact in that still be through you then, Kevin, as it relates to?
I'm fine with that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can send you the stuff that I have. I can send you the wording of the motion, so you guys have that.
Okay, we'll
Uh,
continue to use that, you as the primary point of contact for this resolution.
Thank you everyone for your time. Sorry it took so long.
Thank you guys for being here.
It's a complicated issue.
And again, it's, I hate being put in this position of cleaning up after the contractor, literally. But
Yes. you're doing
hopefully we
it.
can come to a better result.
Right. No, this is a complicated issue involving multiple parts of the city with very different goals.
Oh, setting the follow-up meeting, what did you guys say you wanted?
We'll do it by email.
Okay, great. So Kylie, you'll reach out maybe, or Kevin?
Kevin will.
One of us will, yeah.
Okay,
Thank you so much for your time, everybody.
okay.
Thank you.
Back to,
That purple,
Susan, you have,
excuse me, wage scale.
done the first 3.
So now,
Seasonal wage scale.
yeah,
To,
what, those were presented tonight, so they'll have to be provided to us. And I just want to keep one, so I make sure that the same one.
Yep. I believe there's.
There's,
I
yeah.
think there were 3.
I just, it was.
They're not.
No, that's fine. I didn't, yeah, just a one copy. That's total. Thank you. Thank you.
are they the
Just making
same?
sure there's 3 different.
No, there's only 2 presented. Those 2.
There's 2.
Yes,
two
they're
Yeah,
identical. Okay. Let's move on to Parks and Recreation Department 2025 seasonal wage scale.
All right, so the seasonal wage scale is coming before you. This is kind of later in the game than we'd like to. This will be coming before you on an annual basis, a part of the budget planning. There hasn't been a seasonal wage scale put in place for the department that was recognized until 2020. I believe 2024. Was the first time
Something like that.
we had put that in place. We are showing this is for the full department. We obviously oversee many staff, but the forestry conservancy position. So we have the conservancy seasonal 1 and 2 listed on here. And that's really for your guys' visual. There's only two positions that relate to conservancy lands. The rest of them are Parks Rec. Forestry PRFC reviews this. They have already looked through this. We hope to get this to you in a December meeting for the following year or sooner, but we.
Kevin, can you highlight the 2?
oh, I'm sorry.
And they're in green, so go down. They're the green
Oh, yeah,
ones.
there we
Oh,
go.
the green ones.
So starting wage for seasonal 1 is 18, starting wage for seasonal 2, and that's with more work experience or more certification.
Yeah, so I think the bottom line is we split these into 2 positions to allow us to hire staff that has more experience, more qualifications or certifications. And when that job description is written, we'll bring that to you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, so that we don't bring the position descriptions, just the wage scale that, and we're
Right.
looking for approval tonight from you guys. We match this up.
So you
with
need
the
a motion.
Budget, so that's what we're looking for tonight. And if any questions for Kevin?
Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Oh,
We need them.
Jim and Tom disappeared on our visual. There we go.
There's
Oh, hello.
Hello.
You're there. We see you. Thank you.
Okay.
If
Maybe it
not,
might have been a good thing that I
No,
couldn't be.
no,
seen
it was just a screen. It wasn't you
Yeah.
guys.
Oh, okay.
okay, so the motion is to approve the seasonal wage scale. All in favor, please say aye.
I need a second.
We had
I
it.
second.
We have
Yeah,
it.
we had a second.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Let's say aye. Sorry.
Okay, you said aye. Okay. Passed unanimously. Next item is the General Services Agreement with Adaptive Restoration LLC.
So this is coming to us from Public Works Department. Every 2 years, the Public Works Department renews agreements for consulting, engineering, similar type services, professional services, and adaptive restoration is one of the contractors on the list. And the Conservancy Lands Division, as you know, uses adaptive restoration for things like plan writing. They wrote the Conservancy Lands Plan, the plan for the Bach units of Pheasant Branch Conservancy, the Graber Pond Conservancy, and they are working on a plan for Confluence Pond, North Fork, South Fork currently. So we dovetail on these engineering agreements, and what we're looking for is a motion to recommend approval to Common Council.
Do I ask questions before or after motion?
After. So do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, second? Okay, questions?
So Public Works are the ones who they make the first decision on this and then they're passing it on to us for agreement or no?
No.
This is a
Collaborative, it's kind of collaborative.
it's a document that originates in the Public Works Department.
Oh, it comes to us.
And and I'm asking for your approval because the Conservancy Lands uses this agreement so that we can request services of adaptive restoration through a task order, which is a method that we can request something like a plan writing or maybe consulting services on disturbed landscapes in the creek corridor.
I'll be darned.
Yep. So it's a streamlined process for predetermining selected contractors, if that's fair to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Public Works set up this procedure, but the choice of adaptive is coming through us. Is that correct?
And the maybe the second thing, this is a renewal of a current agreement as well.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Just comments, there's 12 organizations that we're pursuing or that the Public Works Committee as recommended by the city staff is pursuing general service agreements with. So Adaptive is one of several other engineering firms and
So it's like
and such
soil
It's
testing.
standard, engineering so they can start working when things come up. Yeah.
Do they send this out for like our, request for proposal? Is there competitors?
From my understanding, and again, just committee member, but like the GSAs are with firms that they've used that they know that they have their rates already preset so that if in a pinch or if it's a regularly occurring firm that we might use, that they still have to apply for an RFP, so go through a bid proposal, but there's like just a general agreement existing between the city and the firm. Yeah.
That's a great summation of it.
Yeah. Okay, Kevin and Kylie, are you satisfied with your interactions with adaptive restoration? I mean, they seem terrific with their presentations and whatnot. Any other comments on their performance?
Yeah, I would say absolutely. This is something that I rely on the restoration ecologists of adaptive. And an example is they were able to do a tree inventory in the creek corridor at a very short notice that we issued through a task order. So it's for the type of situations that Mary just described, where I can reach out and say, here's something that we'd like you to do. We have their rates for consulting or forestry or prescribed fire, already predetermined through these agreements. So it's, I think it's it's a good thing for the.
Yeah, I can add, Jim, the city's been using Adaptive since when I first, probably even before when I got on CLC back in 2004. It's gone through different presidents of the company, but they've been doing it consistently for the last 20 some years.
This is the second term of our GSA, so this is the first or the second term of their GSA, so we wouldn't bring it forward as staff without seeing a value in that.
Okay,
Thank you.
so we have a motion and a second.
I'm sorry, who made those?
Dave and Mary. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? No one? Okay, so motion passed.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Buck Community Gardener Manual. And this has been through Parks and Recreation, but it's.
Do you want me to run through this?
I'd love it if you.
Okay, no problem. I just want to make sure. So we have brought this this agenda or this item up to Parks Rec Forestry Commission. We've also brought this to Sustainability on Monday night as an awareness piece, and specifically tonight we're bringing it to CLC for more information as it relates to the Bach Community Garden sitting in Conservancy land. So if you're not familiar with where Bach Community Garden, it's off of Highland Way and Pheasant Branch Conservancy and the Bach John C. Forest units of Pheasant Branch. And it's about 1 acre of garden space. And really what we have done starting in 2024, we worked with the Garden Committee. The Garden Committee is a non-official committee of the city of Middleton, so it is not an official committee of the city. They are made up of volunteer gardeners that garden at the space to help manage the operations within the garden walls or the garden fence per se. And really, we started working with them as we saw some opportunity to improve our partnership as it relates to protecting the Conservancy land and really forming what boundaries are in place to make a really great partnership. When we started working with them, we also looked at fiscal responsibility and sustainability and covering operational costs and planning for the future. And that wasn't really in place at all. And so we needed to work collaboratively to get to that space. And in our conversations, we gave them a few options because they were essentially volunteers on the land, using the land under their own guidance, and they didn't get guidance or they weren't provided guidance from the city of Middleton, so that we worked with them to provide 2 options. Either A, they could become a 501c3, cover all of their expenses and manage the garden under an official agreement that would get approved through the city, or the second option was to be a program and facility all under this Parks and Rec department for direct oversight of the program and facility, and provide more clear guidance from the city of Middleton on how they can operate, and all finances are run through a special revenue fund, and we would be deciding the garden fees and their budget and managing it in that direct capacity. The gardeners all made a unanimous vote to move forward with option 2, which was the city of Middleton overseeing the program directly. And that was also due to liability with them not having their own insurance if they became a 501c3. So they chose the second option. We moved forward with that and kind of reviewed comprehensively the 2025 growing season or garden season, and just things like the budget and boundaries, and through how they can garden safely if there was certain species that they shouldn't be using that would directly affect the conservancy land around. So we really took historical documents. There was almost 3 to 4 documents that were pulled together in the document that's shown tonight, or that is on your agenda packets tonight, which is the 2026 Bach Community Garden Manual. It provides history, rules, regulations, guidelines, plants that can be utilized in the garden, or what plants cannot be utilized in the garden, to fully give the city's guidance on how operations could carry forward, that the committee has to do so in an effective manner with the gardeners. There's 95 plots and growing, having about 150 gardeners in that space is a lot of people, and so that is why the manual was created, to provide that city guidance with the collaboration of the committee. The committee actually all voted and created this, so it wasn't a city staff burden to do that. And we worked collaboratively to get to a point where we agreed upon it before coming forward on the agenda tonight, or on any agendas. And we are opening registration, and it's been running successfully for the returning gardeners at this point.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Yeah, so we're looking on this one for approval of the Bach Community Gardener Manual.
Yeah, it's very nice looking. It's nice, comprehensive. It's
Very
wonderful.
The
Do we have a
committee,
motion?
Yes,
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay. I have one comment, the same one I made at Parks, which is there's one part that's, as a gardener, I found not really problematic, but a little bit scary in terms of bringing out a little too much about problems.
can you identify that section?
No, I don't remember. I think it might be something under gardeners in good standing, where if, as a new gardener reading this, hearing about some of the past problems, I think could come out and just have the rules of what needs to be there without an explanation for why the rules there.
Well, if you have time to,
I can go back and look at it and
Yeah.
let you know.
it can.
Yeah, it's an editorial thing for the next version, is what I'm saying.
Oh, number 6, not in good standing, warning, notice, follow-up, initial FYI communication.
Yeah, just put the rules in there and not why they came up with the rule.
Category assignments, timing of assessments.
I mean, it was sounding like there's lots of gardeners that didn't get along, and I don't think it was that bad a problem.
I remember that rumor. I do.
It's in
Yeah.
your district.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I'm like, really? But whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
People were
it can just
squabbling in
be-
the garden space, and it was an issue. Hey, it's
if you've got just clearly stated rules, that's all that's needed.
Okay. So you have a motion, you have a second.
Yes, all in favor, please say aye.
I
All right.
Opposed, passed unanimously.
I remember that. We do.
Well, I don't remember that. I just
Yes.
had it and
No,
found, oh, I don't want to run a garden spot over there. So next item is Confluence Pond, North Fork and South Fork Ecological Assessment and Vegetation Management Plant Project Update. So I think this is, Kevin, you've got to explain what we're doing on this.
Yeah, so as you know, Adaptive Restoration is working on writing a management plan, ecological assessment and vegetation management plan for the three conservancies on the I'll just say the west side of Middleton, Confluence Pond, North Fork, South Fork. So this is, no, that's not it. So I have an update that was prepared for our December meeting, and basically it's just saying that Adaptive Restoration hosted a meeting with the goal of creating the goals and objectives for the plan. And that meeting was attended by representatives of this committee, of the Water Resources Management Commission, and of the Airport Commission. So just extend a thank you to the members of those entities that took time. And that was a productive meeting. Coming out of that is a draft of the goals. And this is just a sheet that I brought from Adaptive Restoration from their last meeting, which they took those draft goals and objectives and worked with or met with Conservancy land staff as well as stormwater utility staff to go over some of those things from a staff perspective. So goals listed here from the Conservancy lands plan, but I think the ones that we're looking for previous plans, proposed goals. So they have to do with four realms: habitat, water, recreation, and public safety. The habitat goal states restore, and these are again drafts, so any feedback is welcome. Restore and maintain native habitat within the conservancies, oak savanna, wet and mesic prairie, connect it to the greater conservancy system via the natural area corridors to allow movement of wildlife. Recommendations would include working with the airport to support and increase native plant diversity. I learned a lot about the airport operation stuff that I didn't know, so that was really great to see. So the second one, water, work with our public works department to ensure the function of stormwater utilities. So it's important that we identify that not only are these conservancy lands, but they're also functioning as stormwater facilities. We want to maintain that while also enhancing the native habitat. And then recreation, we know that the North Fork and South Fork Trail, the creek corridor run through all these conservancies, provide a safe place for outdoor passive recreation and access to nature. Middleton residents of all ages and abilities, in part by establishing and maintaining access between the conservancies and the adjacent neighborhoods via existing and proposed trail. And finally, public safety, work with airport officials to manage wildlife when possible, to ensure safe flying experiences while also supporting the native flora and fauna in the conservancies that Middleton residents enjoy. So again, this is on the agenda for an update and to get any feedback or suggestions, which I'd welcome at this time, or at a later time. You're welcome to send me an email if you have thoughts.
And I would say, since I'm on it, you can give me information also.
You're always encouraged to email the chair. And I'm not looking for any motion. This is on here as
This
a,
is just update. I would say it was a very good meeting.
yeah, I would agree.
And
I appreciate the goals.
the airport is very valuable in terms of the conservancy and water retention and flood control. And
Yeah, I think
a whole bunch of things that
the
most
message
people
got
don't
through.
realize that it does.
With just work with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great to meet the members of that commission and hear the stories involved with that.
Yeah, whatever needs to be done to
Yeah.
just make it a collaborative approach, I think.
And in the past, I know,
We have access to, Bureau
Yeah.
of Aeronautics resources to even help with it. That's the other beauty of it.
one of the things that I still remember when I was on airport commission was there's an area that's a very deep creek bed near on the southwest side, sort of.
Oh, the man-made.
Yes,
Hole in the
something
ground?
that had lots of trees in it. It wasn't safe for people to go in and clear the brush out.
Can't get into it.
They hired goats and they did a fantastic
goat
job.
wars. That's a
Yeah.
different thing, yeah.
So,
I will try that again.
yeah, it's a
That's kind
It's
of
a
cool.
good
Yeah.
thing. The library, the airport does more. And during the flood, it was,
We go to the next agenda item. so-
Yeah. okay. Liaison reports, PRFC.
I missed the last meeting. I think there was street tree planting. Does that have to do with this or not? Fee in lieu of, or-
No, I think.
Well, the only thing is it, we did increase the street tree fee in lieu of planting. So this is a fee that the developers pay so that the city will plant trees in a new development. So for right now, we're looking at planting in Red Tail Ridge in the first and second phase. And we're planting with the money that was approved 2 to 3 years ago. Now we're looking at approval of the phase 3 of Red Tail Ridge. That fee of $600 that'll go toward planting, procurement, all the stuff involved. And I only bring it up here is because in the previous discussion, it came up that that might be a way to give a value to the 10 trees that were proposed as donation.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a good, we were just cooked over here.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You want to go next?
I don't have anything to report besides the adaptive restoration. That was the most relevant thing from our last meeting that I would have.
Okay, and from Water Resources, we didn't have anything to vote on. It was all updates on various issues, snow removal, various projects, which is restoring stormwater retention ponds, fees in lieu of funds, and meeting times for the meeting. So basically, any great significance, but still relevant. Okay. That's it. We can adjourn the meeting.
Mhm.
Thank you,
All right.
everyone.
Thank you all for your time.
Right.
Um,
Thanks.
Thanks, folks.